Tom Clark's 6M podcast is a Boink Studios production. And now, on with the show.
Hey, what is up? Welcome to Tom Clark's 6M podcast. I'm your host, Tom Clark. And in this episode, I'm joined by co-host Christopher Ray Patton. Some action flicks, even your girl will watch with you. I know what you're thinking if you're a guy or a girl. Tom, that's not going to happen. My girl's not into that stuff, man. She won't watch the car chases and the gunfights and the slow motion, hanging off the edge of a cliff if you're a J.J. Abrams guy or whatever. Like, my girl's not into that stuff. She don't like that stuff. Well, I beg to disagree. I beg to differ. I think it depends on who's in the flick. And you know what I'm going to say? I'm not shy. I'm just going to say it. If the action guy is hunky, if he's dreamy, if he's all that and a bag of chips, as the kids used to say, I imagine, then all bets are off. Because the movie we're talking about here today has got one of those dudes in it. May as well have been Bradley Cooper, right? Hunky, dreamy. May as well have been Matthew McConaughey. Hunky, dreamy. Women will watch stuff these two dudes are in, regardless of what's going on. I'm telling you right now, Patrick Swayze was one of those guys. And maybe the first guy of the modern era that we could say that about, that women loved him because he did the date flicks and because he was hunky with the hair and hunky with the half beard thing going on, not shaving and whatnot. And so, like, when he would do other movies, what happened? Your girls went to see it. All of them did. Mine did. Everyone's did, okay? Because Patrick Swayze, whole other level. Right now, today, you're upset you don't look like him. I am too. But you know what? Some of us are not meant to have those chiseled, rugged good looks. Some of us are meant to have brains and creativity and other such nonsense words I'll throw out there. Because, yeah, it's not the same as looking like Patrick Swayze, let's be honest. But we're talking about Point Break. And yes, your girl's seen this movie, okay? So this sucker came out in 91. We've never talked about it here on the show. We've talked about Keanu Reeves. We've done John Wick here. And, we like Keanu Reeves. This is early Keanu Reeves. This is some rough Keanu Reeves. Don't know what he would say to that, but I got thoughts. And I also got thoughts on Bodie. We'll get into it here today. This should be a fun one, kids, so buckle up. But before we get cranking on that's to my co-host, let's do this. Point Break is a 1991 American action film directed by Catherine Bigelow and written by W. Peter Liff. It stars Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze and some other folks that we're going to get to. The film's title refers to the surfing term point break, in case you didn't know, where a wave breaks as it hits a point of land jutting out from the coastline. The film features Reeves as an undercover FBI agent who is tasked with investigating the identities of a group of bank robbers while he develops a complex relationship with the group's leader, and that would be, of course, Swayze. And this thing was produced by Peter Abrams and Robert L. Levy. The running time is 122 minutes, released at least in the United States, worldwide, July 12th, 1991. My mom's birthday, July 12th, actually. The budget was $24 million. The box office haul was $83.5 million. Not a bad return on investment, but we only got the one film, and we got a remake later, which we don't have to talk about. But that is your lowdown for Point Break, because I don't know if we want to talk about that. I didn't see it. I have seen this one before, Chris, and I haven't seen it in a long time, okay? So I expected some of it to maybe not hold up, and it doesn't. And some of it's just goofy fun, and it is. It's beautiful. It's hard to argue with the shots of the surfing, the ocean. If you like that weather, Chris, if you like that environment, you probably enjoyed the scenery. I think it's a gorgeous film when it comes to those shots. What do you think overall of this film? Have you been a fan of this movie in the past?
Big fan of this movie, buddy. Also, you said no one looks like Patrick. I look like Patrick Swayze right now. I'm a ghost. I am so pale, brother. No, all joking aside, Patrick Swayze is great in this. And just right off the rip, I want to talk about his dedication to this action film, in which he did all of his own surfing stunts, refused to let people. So the big crest that happens, there's a big crest in this movie towards the end of the film not a spoiler alert, there's a big wave scene. That's Patrick Swayze. Patrick Swayze doing all his dance moves. Patrick Swayze out here roundhouse kicking people. How can you know it's impossible that people don't love Patrick Swayze. If someone said they didn't like Patrick Swayze, Tom, I don't want to hang out with him. Like I don't know that we could have a conversation together, I love this film. I think it is the perfect amount of dumb fun. It is just ridiculous. It's off the wall. It's a great heist movie. It leads into other great heist movies that may be the exact same replica that has a franchise that has 14 movies in it. That we could get into if you want to, but it's a great movie. And yeah, man, I love it. I enjoyed it again. We named a lot of other movies to watch, talk about before landing on Point Break. And I'm kind of happy we landed on Point Break because I really did genuinely sit down, watch this morning and just enjoyed it. It's a comfort flick for me, I guess. Same as Roadhouse. Roadhouse also a comfort flick. Maybe I'm just a Patrick Swayze guy, brother.
Sounds like you might be a Patrick Swayze guy. So by the way, Patrick Swayze was awesome. And he was pretty for the ladies, but he was also tough for the guys. And I think it's great when you can have actors that can bring that to a role because, here's a question for you. And it's 2025, things have changed, and I respect that. I've never been a rom-com guy. I don't think I'd follow Patrick Swayze to a rom-com, but I'd watch him in an action flick. Women are going to follow him no matter what kind of movie he's in. So, do you think that's changed now that, sentiment out there in the world, it is what it is with not everybody, because most of it's burning down on fire. But with this idea of, men are embracing more maybe softer roles and maybe they can get more into a rom-com if it's funny. Do you think that's flipped at all?
Well, so here's the weird thing about this is you don't have a Patrick Swayze that can do a roadhouse and roundhouse kick someone and then go and be in Ghost. Can you think of an actor that's recently done that? Because I can give you an actor of kind of in the way of you're talking about, like Ryan Gosling did Drive. We talk about Ryan Gosling all the time because I think he's a great example. He did Drive, but he also did Barbie, right? Which is funny. That's funny. That's a good, but he never once roundhouse kicked anyone in Drive. He didn't surf any waves out here. So I don't know. I'm trying to think of someone offhand that can fill both of those roles. Right?
I think you nailed it. I think Gosling's the guy now.
Well, yeah, but he's not a tough action star guy. He was in one cool. He's more like a dude. Queen. He was in one cool movie where he did action things.
But the Nice Guys, that's a great movie.
But that's not like Patrick Swayze roundhouse kicking a dude that says he wants to F him. And I used to F guys like you in prison or whatever that happens in Roadhouse. We're talking different level of action that's happening between Ryan Gosling and Patrick Swayze out here having to murder a man with his bare hands. 80s action versus whatever's happening now in action movies in general is just way different.
So what you're saying is you can't imagine Jason Statham roundhouse kicking somebody. And then a rom-com talking about, I'd like to take you out on a date, right? Not the same thing.
I could imagine that, but they haven't done that. Jason Statham retiring as a stuntman to date people on Tinder would be a great concept for a movie. You would watch it. His voice, he's like, oh yeah, I've done a lot of things I don't want to talk about in my past.
Yeah.
Whatever.
He just ended up kicking somebody in the face.
I don't know why I sounded like Oprah's Binge from South Park right then, but I apologize.
Yeah, I was a little off. Mine wasn't great, to be honest.
No, mine was spot on for Oprah's
Oh,
Binge.
I see. Okay.
From South Park, but that's
from South Park. Got it. Yeah.
Fresh in my mind. So apologies to our British fans out there.
I think Gosling. I think Gosling's the guy, man. I do.
Who's got the kicks? Jackie Chan. Is he still hot? I'm kidding.
I don't know if Jackie Chan's still hot.
Jake Gyllenhaal for a while. He did that. He does both, right?
That's a good point. Maybe. And he was in a Swayze remake too.
Maybe that's the guy. I can't. Honestly, I can't. I'm sure there is someone that we're sleeping on right now.
Yeah, I'm
because
sure
neither
of
of us watch enough rom-coms today. The
That's
thing is,
fair.
at some point in the 90s, rom-coms became, let's get the funny guy that shouldn't have a relationship with this person and make that work. So they did the 80s nerd thing, but it's like, Will Ferrell or Adam Sandler, and none of those cats are who I would call intimidating. Except for if you're playing, Adam Sandler in basketball, then maybe that would be intimidating to me. I'm not very good at basketball. I heard he's great. So, but he's not roundhouse kicking anyone. That's what I'm getting at.
He's not roundhouse kicking anyone. That's prerequisite to this. By the way, did you catch that Roadhouse remake with Gyllenhaal?
I did. I thought that was pretty good. You told me to watch it. Actually, I think
I did, didn't I? Holy
yeah,
Lord!
I think it was on one of these podcasts where somehow Patrick Swayze came up, and here we are, full circle, right back.
Well, there you go. Well, it's awful Conor McGregor heavy, which I wasn't happy about because he's not like a good dude. But I thought Gyllenhaal was fantastic in that movie.
In a world where Jake Paul is a wrestling personality, I don't know how much money it costs, but please get Conor McGregor to be a wrestling personality.
Yeah, and I mean, kind of talking about two dirtbags right now, to be honest with you.
Well,
two bags of dirt. I don't give me that heel crap. I'm not having that.
well, they're natural heels, baby.
Natural. Okay, fine. They're natural, terrible people.
Hey, man, if half the world already hates you, then half your work is done. It'd be more impressive if they had to turn babyface.
I guess. I don't think you got to worry about that. I think one of those clowns anytime soon. Well, look, this is prime Keanu. This is after Bill and Ted, but it's before Speed. So this is the guy that maybe we're not quite sure about yet, that we liked in a couple of films that no one really heard of, and then we really enjoyed him in Bill and Ted. Then he ends up in this movie, and you're like, wait a minute, Ted's an action guy? He's FBI? Oh, come on. Then you see it, and you're like, it's not bad. It's not bad. But as I told you off mic, there are moments in this film with Mr. Reeves where I'm like, yeah, it's a little rough. You know what I mean? For me, anyway.
It's so hard to say, though, because he's supposed to be a laid-back surfer.
Yeah.
So he delivers his lines all like this, man.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to tell because that's a hard voice to have hard emotion with.
Well, that's fair. That's really fair. Yeah.
I can't believe you would do this to me, dude. Or like, what's the Fast Time?
Yeah. I've never heard it put that way, but that's actually well said.
That's a hard thing to get over. This entire movie is yin and yang, brother. It is your classic story of good and bad and how they sometimes merge together.
And I think it works. We said this off mic too. I think this works because Swayze never smiles at the camera. He never winks. He does not break. And I think that's what makes the movie, man. I don't think Keanu makes the movie. And I'm going to say something that might be a little hot. I kind of think you could have put someone other than Keanu, and I think this movie still works because I think Swayze is the one that anchors it. And that's a novel reference. So
how old was Paul Walker when this movie? I'm kidding.
3? I don't know. Was he born yet? I don't know.
This is a Fast and Furious joke.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you're right. You could have put someone in, but also there's something about Keanu's non-delivery of lines that makes Patrick Swayze super overacting in this movie great. Because you really believe Bodhi is crazy. Because
sure.
You and me, we're having a conversation like this. We're talking normal. We're not acting. We're just having a normal conversation. That's how Keanu comes off in the entire movie. Regardless of the situation, he's talking like we're talking right now. Someone could be getting Texas Chainsaw Massacred and Keanu's gonna be like, whoa. But
right.
then the opposite, something very normal would be happening, like someone opening a pickle jar, and Bodhi is the opposite of that. So it kind of works. Putting them together kind of works in a weird way.
You're right. It's the straight man and the funny man to a certain degree, with lack of a better term. Yeah, you're right. It does work.
Because that's not what they were going for. I don't think they were going for the buddy cop.
Listen, to your point, and to my point about Keanu here, supposedly they could have pulled the trigger on Matthew Broderick, Johnny Depp, Val Kilmer, or Charlie Sheen as Johnny Utah.
So Val Kilmer would have been too much of a bad for this movie, because then it would be hard to believe that he's Johnny Utah and would do all of this before it gets to the pinnacle of the movie.
Yeah, that's fair.
But Matthew Broderick, that'd be an interesting choice. But then, like, you think about him in the surfer role.
He's too little.
Yeah, like, he's going to be standing next to Patrick. I mean, Patrick Swayze's not a huge guy by any means, but, like, Matthew, like, in comparison. And then also he's kind of like, it's Matthew Broderick. He's kind of a nerd. No offense, Matthew. I like Matthew Broderick, but, like, surfer? They'd know he was a cop immediately, brother. Like, as soon as he rolled up on the beach, they'd be like, that's a cop. Yeah. they would literally be that guy from Fast and the Furious. I'm telling you, he's a cop.
I think Charlie Sheen or Johnny Depp would have been fine.
Johnny Depp would have worked. Charlie Sheen would have overacted.
Is he too pretty? Is Sheen too pretty for this?
Charlie Sheen at this time period is too pretty because the focal point is supposed to be Patrick Swayze as the pretty bad guy. Now, if you want to go more 80s with it, Kiefer Sutherland, if you do Kiefer Sutherland, that would have worked.
Oh, that would have been fantastic. Yeah.
But I wasn't one of the people casting this, because this would have been right after Lost Boys. You could have done a good guy, Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah. Good call, man.
But yeah, like, it's perfect. Johnny Utah is not that important in this movie, honestly. The plot really just kind of happens around Johnny Utah until the last 15 minutes of this film. If we're being honest, he's there, but, like, literally everything that's happening is Bodhi and another actor that we'll talk about, who's known for being kind of crazy.
Oh my God, we'll get there. By the way, the name Johnny Utah. What are we doing? What are we doing here? Are you serious? Do you like it, really?
How is that not some 1970s, like, NWA champion name? Johnny Utah.
Okay, well, fine. But this ain't pro wrestling, brother.
All right, some famous boxer. I don't know. Dude, Johnny Utah is a great name. What are you talking about?
I guess. It's a great name for, like, a college football quarterback, not so much a FBI dude in a shirt agent.
But that's, like, his legit name, though. He doesn't have, like, a different name. He is Officer Utah. So his name doesn't change. Like, it's not like he made it. This is my surfer name. I'm Johnny Utah. It'd be worse if he had a surfer name and then he had a normal name. But it's like, no, his name is just Johnny Utah. That's just his actual name.
Let me tell you. I'm with you right now. You and I are on the same page. When the second act hits, I'm out. I am jumping ship. I'm getting out the boat. I'm at least putting one leg out the boat. I can't swim. But we'll get there. I don't want to rush it. Let's talk about the crazy person that you mentioned, FBI agent Angelo Pappas. By the way, we did mention Patrick Swayze is
Bocephus.
What?
I was making a Hank Williams joke.
You know what? I can't pronounce it. Let's go with that. Gary Busey is FBI agent Angelo Pappas. Kids, when you think crazy, there's plenty of people right now. One in particular, I don't get that. I'm talking about when you think crazy in a fun, harmless way, you think Gary Busey. And if you don't, shame on you.
In a fun, harmless way? I don't know. I would say fun, harmless way.
Fun and harmless to you. He doesn't control anything or run anything that you got to worry about, like the other dude that I can't describe because I try to keep my show clean. But
well, I mean, if you have a burrito near this man with those chompers, he might bite your arm off, brother.
I'm going to put this out there, and maybe this is not fair to the man because he's been a lot of stuff. And you know what? It's not fair to the man. Did he peak too soon in his career with the Buddy Holly story? Because that is one of the greatest freaking biopics I submit of all time.
I think it depends on how you view movies. For me, he peaked in Surviving the Game with Ice-T.
Oh,
so
interesting.
Where he's like, I like my meat well done. And then Ice-T is like, he's like, I like my meat rare. And he's burning him against the wall. And then Ice-T flips around. He's like, I like my meat well done. And throws him through a window. It's great. We're talking peak cinema. People could have stopped making movies after Surviving the Game. Which maybe that's a whole nother show. But anyway, yeah, that would be my peak Gary Busey moment. But as far as like great acting, you're spot on. It's the Buddy Holly movie.
By the way, when you say the words peak peak cinema is never followed by anything that was actually peak cinema. It's usually sarcasm.
Yeah. It's like, I love him to death. In the South, we have this saying, like, it's always followed with a but, which is, I love him to death, but, or I love her
Yeah.
to death, but, and then there's
Yeah.
something negative. It's the same thing.
It is the same thing. I believe it or not, I love this character. I love that he busts Johnny up in the first scene or two because he's the young guy, but then he's with him. And I love that he stayed with him. I love that he didn't turn on him because he could have turned on him when everything went south in the bank, which we'll get to, which was nonsense, but he didn't turn on him, man. I loved he stayed true blue to the end. And like, I think they did so much great character work with him in this movie that when he gets killed, spoiler alert, you actually feel it. I was like, oh crap, I'd forgotten he got killed. I haven't seen this movie in years, man.
Yeah, that you kind of you jumped ahead there.
I did.
You got straight there to the spoilers. Sorry, spoilers, guys. He
Well, it is a
reminds me
movie.
of Bullock. I know you're a comic book fan. You talk about intelligent things, but Pappas is Bullock, right, from Batman lore. And in fact, the TV cast of Gotham, you could cast as Keanu Reeves, and you could switch those two. If you ever watched the TV series Gotham, I think it would work.
I think depending on the version of Bullock you're talking about. If you're talking about the dirty cop Bullock, no. But if you're talking about the guy that's kind of,
Donald Logue from the TV series specifically.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
Yeah, I think that would work. But yeah, like he also is kind of a dirty cop.
Yeah.
It's implied heavily that he has had multiple partners and maybe has some problems with other police officers on this force.
Yeah.
So he's not necessarily the cleanest cop in the entire world. He is definitely, to draw too much to Fast and the Furious, but he's definitely much like, he's got to surf. He's got to drive a streetcar. He just has to spend money. It's the same. This movie is literally the same movie, by the way. We just have to get this. I have to get it out of my system. Point Break is the same exact movie as Fast and the Furious.
Fast and Furious is the same exact movie as Point Break.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm getting at. It's the same film. And you can enjoy them both. I do enjoy them both, personally. And I
can enjoy this.
What if Patrick Swayze was Vin Diesel's character? That'd be fun.
I can enjoy this movie, but I'm not going to enjoy those other movies. Made like 12 of them. They're still making them, aren't they? Good God. Didn't they go to space or something in the last one?
Well, we're not. Why did Point Break not get all the sequels, though? It's not fair to Point Break.
I thought you were going to say, why did Point Break not go to space, Tom?
Well, yeah, why didn't they?
Hey, look.
Why didn't they?
Without looking at notes, without looking it up, should Point Break have had 3 movies? Should it have been 4? You tell me. Could they have kept this going? Do you think it would have caught fire and got hot enough to keep going for that long?
Bodhi went to jail at the end of this film, right?
We never see him arrested.
We never saw him die.
So we never saw him die.
He could have done a part 2. That's also
you could have said that.
That's also the end of Fast and the Furious. You never actually see Vin Diesel's character die, and then they did 67 more. I don't know how many. Like, honestly, I don't. Yeah, I've lost touch of. No offense to Fast and the Furious fans out there, but like once you get into the 13 realm, we're talking Final Destination, Saw level of like keeping up with something, which is beyond me.
Yeah, I don't. If you're a dude, bro, and you're in that culture and you don't care about women's feelings, then yeah, I don't mind offending you all day. Yeah, I don't know. I look at this and I look at the numbers on the box office and I'm thinking, did that dictate that there's no part 2? Because I don't know. I haven't looked. Like, it didn't do monster business. Like, could it have done enough? Could we have opened part 2 with Bodhi locked up in a prison? He ends up escaping somehow. Maybe he escapes by riding the wave. I don't know. It's Alcatraz. I don't know.
Dude, spot on. If Brody broke out of Alcatraz and surfed his way back to California to start a new crew, that would have been why are we not writing movies? Where were we in the
I don't
90s?
know.
Like, we got the perfect sequel for this. That sequel would probably make more money than the first movie too.
Mr. Calling, man. By the way, rest in peace, Patrick Swayze, man. Gone way, way too soon. I don't think the man made an enemy the whole time he was on the planet. Everybody loved him. Had great things to say about him. Good family man. Like, man, gone too soon, dude.
The world's most amazing mullet I've ever seen. That thing,
Right?
mwah, chef's kiss. Even in this movie, you're like, he's getting rid of the mullet, but then he just has a hockey surfer mullet. It's the best. It still shapes the chef's kiss.
And dude, by the way, we know what Keanu's done since this movie. What more could Patrick have done, man? You ever think about that? Like, actors we lose too early, like, what kind of roles would he have had? Would he have eventually been the police chief? Would he have been, do you know what I mean? Like, I sometimes I wonder about that.
I absolutely love Kurt Russell, but there's a lot of movies that I would maybe sub Patrick Swayze in for Kurt Russell.
Oh, interesting.
A good one is Death Proof. I think he would have been a lot of fun in Death Proof.
That's a good one. I like that a lot. Yeah, because he had that
and
fun
also
edge to him.
I love, but like, I love Kurt Russell. Nothing against you. I love you with your eyeliner in the 80s.
Kurt's the best, man.
Doing the thing. Love the thing. It's a great film.
Hey, he's my only wide earp, brother. He's my only wide earp. He's the only wide earp I ever subscribed to right there, buddy. So.
Skin that smoke wagon, get to work.
That's right. You'll stand there bleeding? Yeah.
He's gonna stand there and bleed.
Yeah.
But I think good substitute. I think you could do Patrick Swayze, specifically in Death Proof. Patrick Swayze in Death Proof would have been perfect. Stuntman Mike, that would have been so good. Patrick Swayze, so underrated. I think he just hit like such a peak. Like, it's kind of hard to, what do you do with him? And then you get like all the Italian crime films, and it would have been amazing if he was in Heat. He should have been in Heat as some sort of character.
Oh man. Wow. We're going to have to do Heat. You brought it up. Now I want to do Heat. It's like 4.5 hours.
Literally, I was thinking Heat, and I was like, I want to do a heist movie, and then I say Point Break instead because this movie's way shorter.
Yeah, it's way shorter. It's probably like less than half. Let's talk about Lori Petty as Tyler Ann Endicott. What do you think about Miss Petty here, man? Is she doing it for you as a romantic love interest?
Okay, this is more on the film, though, because it's just so rushed and forced. Like, they're getting through these scenes. They're like, oh, they're in love now.
Yeah, yes.
Like, they hang out one time at a beach fire and they're in love. That's it. That's their entire love interest. And then they, like, do this weird thing where they skip, like, 5 or 6 months and Keanu's living with her, I guess. Is that what's happening in that scene? I'm still not sure if that's one day or multiple months where he's at her place. But yeah, I don't know. She's fine, I guess. It's kind of hard to be great in that role, right? Like, she doesn't really have that many lines except for, I always knew you were a cop or whatever. Like, I can't remember the exact line, but it's something that I knew I didn't trust you, even though she was in love with him or whatever.
I like how she comes in and just blows the headboard all to pieces. Darn near kills him.
That is
Good
pretty
God.
good. It's a cool scene. It looked that entire, okay, as far as a shoot 'em up goes, the house shoot 'em up is a great action scene. It looks good. It looks really good. If you're into those kind of things, which I am. I think they're fun.
And here's something funny, and this doesn't matter because they're not real people. So who cares? We shouldn't be wanting to pull for the villain anyway. Bodhi's not the good guy, kids. Well, he's pretty. He's got the great mullet hair, but he's not the protagonist, folks.
But he kind of is the good guy.
Stop. He is so not the hero. He does not care who gets hurt.
Hood, brother. He
don't care who gets hurt. And look, in the end, look, I'm talking about skipping. He could have saved her.
We'll save it. Let's save it for the end.
He chose not to save her. I'm not.
I'm being your antagonist here. I was trying to save the perfect moment for the end. Brother, you chose not to save her. We got 30 more minutes in this match. What are we gonna do now?
Well, we're done, folks. That's it. Look, here's what I was gonna say because I didn't want to give the character too much credit because he's not a good dude. I love that he and Tyler used to be a thing, and he never got weird about it. Even when he found out about who Johnny Utah really is, he never said anything weird or like even inappropriate. And for a 91 movie, you'd kind of expect it. But like, dude, he never went there one time. And I'm like, I appreciate that writing, actually, that they could have put that in the gutter and he could have said something insanely lewd or crude, and they just didn't have him do that. I thought that was kind of cool and a nice change of pace, if I'm being honest.
Do you think that was the script, or do you think that Patrick Swayze is just like, I'm not saying that. Bodhi wouldn't say that.
I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I just think, look, some of those movies, man, like the early 90s, they're, especially the shoot 'em ups, man, some of them are, yeah, they just say whatever, and that's fine. We're all adults here. But like, I just, when movies don't do that, I just automatically notice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but at some point, you like, because of that's the style of these movies, it makes you be like, do you wonder if the actor's just like, my character wouldn't say that. I'm not going to say that. I kind of feel like that might have been one of these kind of moments, like where Patrick Swayze is like, I'm not saying that. That's stupid. I could be wrong. You know, like I would have to find an original script. Wait, we could go on eBay and find a script and really look through the original. I'm just going to assume that they just let Patrick Swayze, as the biggest star in this entire film, do whatever they wanted to do, probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because otherwise, why were they like, oh, it's fine, Patrick, go out there and surf this giant wave?
Yeah, because they
a weird time.
They let him do some stuff, man. But I'll tell you this: it wasn't for lack of trying to curb his love of skydiving, because he was told to stop for insurance purposes once they started production on the film, and supposedly producers, they talked him into the agreement with the promise of letting him do one skydive on screen. So that shot that we get, which is fantastic. I mean, this is before Tom Cruise was doing his crazy stuff on Mission Impossible movies. When he yells "Adios, amigo," and he goes out of that plane, that's him. Classic shot, dude. Classic shot. And
also a great line, only to be reveled by "Hasta la vista, baby," is "Adios, amigos."
Yeah, right.
It's pretty good. I have said both multiple times in my life. So,
and also, he got his way anyway, because on the days when Swayze was not on the call sheet, he would go out to an airport and go skydiving, and they didn't know. So he got what he wanted to do. Have you ever been skydiving, by the way?
I have not. I don't have that much faith in someone else packing a parachute for me.
Yeah,
I have trust issues when it comes to someone packing a kite that I'm going to float around on.
I have issues with gravity. That's my problem.
Is there anyone, Tom, in the entire world
what they say? It's not
Would you trust anyone to pack your parachute? Can you think of one person?
I think I'd black out. Yeah, no, it's not a matter of that. I don't think I could. I can't do heights, man. I get physically sick. Like, I can't do it. I'm afraid I'd black out. And then they'd be like, oh, crap, that Tom guy didn't pull. Oh, no, they're going to try to catch up to me. In midair, right?
I like yours. You're just scared of heights. Mine is I'm scared of trusting people.
Yeah, that's a fair point. You're sitting here talking about packing the bag. I'm like, brother, you could get me in the plane. Are you kidding?
I'm like, I don't trust anybody. I'm Stone Cold Steve Austin out here. Trust nobody.
Yeah.
I mean, something about like your life hanging by like paracord with a kite strapped to your back is just not my idea of fun, brother.
No.
Good for you. Like, if you do that, you're like high up cool in my book. I would never be able to do this. I'll go up in the plane with you. I'll watch you go down, and I'll land on the ground safely and be like, that was awesome. I'll be your support friend through that. But like, yeah, no, dude, I don't have that much trust in my life.
Dude, I've revealed this on the show, and I think Phil has giggled at me a time or two. Shout out Phil Lindsay, by the way. I think Phil's giggled at me a time or two. But I have such a fear of heights. I can't watch heights on TV or in a movie. I can't. I cannot. And I'm safe. I'm not in danger. I have to turn my head from the TV, and that is not a lie. I can't handle it, dude. It messes
My
with
wife
me.
my wife has the same thing with close encapsulated spaces. So like if someone goes through
Really?
an event, like she's just uneased by that. And the other, like the heights thing specifically, you ever watch like Ice Road Truckers or like any of those
I
Top
have. It's
Gear
been years.
episodes
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
any of those Top Gear episodes where they're like in Thailand going up a mountain, she's like, I can't, this is just too stressful. I'm like, I would be fine, I guess, if I was driving, but if someone else was driving me, you'd be like, let me out of this thing. I don't. It's weird with me. I think I have trust issues, Tom.
It
But
is
I trust
totally
Patrick
trust
Swayze.
issues.
If Patrick Swayze was driving the ice truck up the mountain, I'd believe in him.
If the shirtless Patrick Swayze with the Bodie mullet showed up, you'd be like, that's fine. You can drive.
I mean, who
Yeah.
wouldn't? He'd probably show up in a Trans Am too. He would show up in a Trans Am hauling the Smokey and the Bandit trailer, and you'd be like, that doesn't even make sense. You'd be like, yeah, well,
Still didn't make sense, but you can do it.
And then he would beat
Yeah.
Sylvester Stallone in an arm wrestling match and be like, I am over the top.
I never seen Stallone throw a roundhouse kick in my life. Have you? That's all I'm saying.
His legs don't work.
I don't think
They
his
don't
legs
let-
work. By the way, his brain don't work
little-
much these days either, if I'm being honest. Hey.
He got a little punch drunk when Hogan kicked me in the face that one time.
Yeah.
Hey, Terry Funk, stunt coordinator for a lot of these movies. Let's go, Terry. Or at least for
No
a lot of Patrick
kidding.
Swayze and a lot of Sylvester Stallone.
We have not given Anthony Kiedis a shout out, lead singer of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. He was the only cast member to miss fight training. So the fight coordinator had his character knocked out with one punch during the first fight scene of the movie because he wasn't there for fight training.
I'm going to go back and watch it again, but it looks stiff, brother. It's like they punched him for real.
This is for missing training, Kiedis.
That's what it seemed like. I was like, because I've done stage combat and stuff. That one looks stiff. That looks stiff, brother. He got Stan Hansen. I could be wrong. I'm gonna go back and watch it again. It is great though. Like I don't know. There's something weird about Anthony Kiedis being part of this movie, but there's also something perfect about it.
Yeah, there is. Bodhisattva.
This entire house scene, the shootout that we're talking about, which we're talking about now with Anthony Kiedis, is great. And it's intense. This is an intent for this film, because there's a lot of things that happen in this movie, and there's action and stuff, but it's literally like people surfing or people skydiving, or like, this is like one of the few things that is like an actual action-packed scene. Outside of the bank even the bank robberies are not that action-packed. But this like house shootout scene is like from like Lethal Weapon or Die Hard. The level of they spent their entire budget on this one scene.
And by the way, Gary Busey's character is still awesome. He's got his back. He's trying to talk him down.
But
it's like it's like not the same as shooting paper targets, but it's the same thing, just a little bit more cleanup. So he's still got his back, man. So I appreciate that.
There is a great line that Keanu has, and he delivers it so stoic. He's like, well, Bodhi is like talking about the theory of dogs, right? Like, if you act more aggressive and strong, they'll back down or whatever. He's like, big pit bull, basically. He's like, superior firearms. That's what Keanu says. It makes me laugh every time. It's the way he delivers it. He's like, so what you're saying is superior firearms. God.
Hey, you caught it. I tried to tell you. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some weird Keanu stuff in here.
There is. We're kind of jumping all over the place, but if you haven't seen Point Break, watch Fast and the Furious and then watch Point Break. I'm kidding.
Just watch Point
Break. Just watch Point Break. Call it a day.
Yeah, that's it.
No, so like let's I almost went into a whole spiel about Lost Boys, but I'm gonna save it.
We haven't done that on the 6M. Well, look, let's circle back. What better place to start after you've done a half hour than go back to the beginning? So basically, there's this group of bank robbers that call themselves the ex-presidents. They all got president masks on. And if you're paying attention and you're either a cop or you're a nerd like we are, then you'll know when the first time you see these guys rob a bank, they're only taking money from the tills or from the drawers, and they're out. You're like, wait a minute, the bank robbery. There's a reason for that. They're flying under the radar. They're taking just what they need to get from one town to the next, which we find out in the movie. By the way, when it comes to the plot, how are you with the plot of this movie? You feeling this plot? Does this work for you?
The plot itself is kind of punk rock because like they don't really want to be rich. They just want to steal from the bank that's federally insured and then dip out. And like not really hurt anybody. They're just like, we're just gonna take money and then we'll go live on the beach or whatever, where the sickest waves are. So there is something kind of like, I don't know, neat about that. I'm not gonna say like I want to do that, but there is like that's the whole draw, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think about the plot of these surf robbers?
I'm okay with it. They live very modestly. They're not driving nice cars. They're not flaunting. They don't seem like terrible dudes. We don't really see them. They're not killing anybody. Just waving the gun around's enough to scare people, and they stay down the floor. And you're like, well, you're still criminals, but you're not hurting anybody. And you're right. The bank's fairly, they're protected. The money's safe. They're going to get the money back. And it's like, it is what it is. But like, yeah, I feel that. But, everything falls apart in the second act. And for me, and, we haven't even got through the cast yet. So I'll save it. I'm chomping at the bit because the house scene feeds into that. And I love the house scene. The house scene is great. You're right. But it feeds into the second act falling apart for me. Because everything after that is
falling
messed
apart.
up.
What were you talking about?
You don't want me to get into it right now? We still got to go through this cast, man.
No. So, have you ever heard about the bank robber Scott Skurlock?
The who? What's he? Who is it?
He was a notorious bank robber in the early 90s named Scott Skurlock. He's known as the Hollywood Bandit. Have you ever heard about his story?
I don't know that I've heard this. How haven't I heard this?
Okay, so his story was he would put on like full Hollywood level makeup, prosthetics, etc., and he would go into the Northeast. He, if I remember right, it was like I want to say like Oregon, Washington, like that area, and he would rob all these banks, and he would single-handedly, like it was like him, one other person, and a driver. And the first thing he always went for the vault, but he was very much like, I don't want to hurt anyone. I'm just always going to go for the vault. And like it was very much they would watch every move of this, and the setup was kind of crazy. So this is like a real life story about this guy. And eventually, much like this story, things go awry, right? But this man lived in the woods in a tree house that he built that still exists. Like this guy was like a well-known like artist and like a kind of like an eccentric person, stoner, and he sold drugs before he decided to rob banks because robbing banks was easier for him than moving weight. It's a crazy story. So for anyone out there listening to this, look up the Hollywood Bandit. There's a great Netflix documentary about the Hollywood Bandit. I think it could be Hulu or Netflix. Just look up Hollywood Bandit. You'll find it. There's tons of information on this guy, but it is an absolute crazy story. And he would go into theaters and watch like Point Break and watch Heat and take ideas away from that movie in his bank robbing, or from what I recall. So they talk about these films and that. So like anytime I talk about this film or Heat, it just pops in my mind because it's like this was a real life person, and robbing banks used to be super easy. Apparently, it's not so easy now. So kids don't go out and rob banks. It's way harder.
And that Netflix doc came out last year, 2024.
It's great. It's really good. Also, the weird treehouse stuff. It's a whole thing. But anyways, this is the vibe that I think Bodhi as a character embodies is Treehouse Man.
Look, Chris, people are obsessed with these documentaries about serial killers where they're explaining how the killers did the killing. We have a show called How to Get Away with Murder. We have other shows that flat out show you how to take apart a gun, put it back together. Dude, are we teaching people how to be freaking terrible to each other? Because, like, sometimes I feel like we are.
We for sure are, and there's a great joke about it in my South Park episode where it's like the family's watching too much of those murder shows on the ID network, and Randy Marsh is like, I can't kill your mom. I'd have to hire someone to kill your mom, and then I'd have to kill them. There's too much DNA. It's like, please don't
throw mom from the train.
Yeah, just don't throw mom from the train. Yeah, this is weird. People will like this documentary because, like, it ends kind of sad, but there's not a whole lot of violence. This is very much a person that robbed like 48 banks with like 0 murders until the very end, which is kind of what happens in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these guys, they're not there for the big haul. They're there for one last score, brother.
Yeah. Well, here's something we can count on an action flick, no matter what the decade is the boss on the cop side that's always mad. And in this movie, it's the great John C. McGinley. If you don't like John C. McGinley, I don't know what's wrong with you. Something definitely wrong with you. This guy is freaking awesome. Everything he's done, he's so entertaining. Such a good actor. But man, he is, you know what they told him? You know what his direction was? Hey, John, just be mad and action. And John's mad through the whole movie.
Boink Studios is the home of Tom Clark's Main Event, Tom Clark's 6M podcast, and Two Nations Under Ted, a Ted Lasso podcast. Visit the site today for links to every podcast platform, social media, special announcements, and a lot more. Check out the site and bookmark today, boinkstudios.com.
John could have been eating a sandwich, but eating it very angrily. You're like, oh, this guy, John, he's mad. He plays the FBI director, Ben Harp. What do you think about John as the stereotypical ticked off boss?
He is absolutely amazing. He has this great line. He's like, do you think taxpayers would like it if Utah would like it? What does he say? Do you think taxpayers would like it if they knew Utah was out here spending federal money to surf and pick up girls?
Yes.
Something to that effect. And Utah's like, babes.
Yeah.
I beg your pardon. The correct term, sir, is babes.
That's great.
I had that one loaded. I didn't get it out correctly when I had it. It's great. This is also the same exact scene of like, I need another car from Fast and the Furious. So it's one in one, like the same exact scene. But Ben Harper is great, or Ben Harp is great, not Ben Harper. Ben Harper is a musician.
He is.
Ben Harp is
also great.
Also great, yeah. Like him and Pearl Jam Madison Square Garden take a bottle Crazy Mary. That's top tier.
Ooh.
But yeah, no, Ben Harp is incredible in this role as the angry lieutenant, the go-between of the what's above a lieutenant? Captain, I guess. The captain. He's kind of the in-between guy, right?
He's FBI director, so he's up there. I mean, by the way,
so he's on the phone with the original George W. during this time period.
Is he the director of the whole FBI? The whole FBI? This is...
I mean, to me, the director of the entire FBI is Johnny Utah, who is an FBI agent.
I mean, because if McGinley's in the J. Edgar Hoover role, would J. Edgar Hoover just show up? Like, is this him showing up to try to catch Al Capone? What are we talking about here? I don't know.
J. Edgar Hoover would like to pretend that he is Teddy Roosevelt. That checks out. You thought about it and it got funny.
Well, I didn't, look, I'm still wanting to get to my problem, but I'm trying to be nice because I do enjoy this movie, but the problem's coming. So let's see.
Is it that they didn't get Pappas 3? Because he said, I should have had you give me 3 of these MFers to be nice. I'm being polite. PG podcast.
Right. No, that's not it. Look. All right, so look, real quick. We got James LaGrosse, John Philbin, that's Roach and Nathaniel. We got Bo Jesse, what a great name. Bo Jesse Christopher as Gromit, Lee Turgensen as Rosie, who's apparently crazy. Vincent Klin as Lupton Warchild Pittman, Chris Peterson as Bunker Weiss, Dave Olson as Archibald, of course, Anthony Kiedis as Tone, Galen Gorg as Margarita. Galen Gorg as Margarita. Is there a difference in that?
What an amazing name! Like growing up with
right?
Margarita in school.
Galen
You know, your teacher,
Gorg.
every time she calls your name, she's like, "I wish I was somewhere having a margarita."
Right? Yeah. Yeah, the girl's name automatically makes you wish you weren't there. Like,
yeah, like in school, Margarita Samuelson. Margarita Samuelson.
right.
Teacher's like, I swear to God, this kid won't be quiet. I wish I was having. Sorry, that's immediately where my brain goes with that.
Let's see. Sydney Walsh is Miss Deer. Anthony Mangano is the off-duty cop that was killed in the bank. And we've got a few other folks. Tom Sizemore shows up in an uncredited spot as a DEA agent Dietz. All right, I'm going to get to my problem. Are you ready? Here's my problem. You had me through the first act. But where you lost me was when he goes out, and by he, I'm talking about Johnny Utah, goes out with Pappas to that house. And it's really freaking obvious, Chris. So Utah thinks that these guys, the ones that roughed him up on the beach earlier in the movie, he thinks this is the squad. These are the bank robbers.
No, he doesn't. That's the whole point. He's pinpointing it on another squad. This happens in Fast and the Furious as well, where he breaks into the other places. He's like, I heard they're running spoon engines or whatever. It's the same. It's the exact same scene.
Yeah, okay.
This movie is literally shot for shot the same movie.
Okay, granted. But look, you are there. Why is he there? I mean, they've acknowledged he's undercover. He's not undercover. When he's not with the bad guys, he's off with his partner in broad daylight, not in a parking garage, not under the cover of night, not talking through phones that can't be traced or through an unknown name in a shady hotel room. In broad daylight, this dude's walking around with his partner. And then he goes on this thing to this house, which, by the way, if you're right about anything you suspect, they're all going to see your face. But he goes anyway. Who made the call here?
In Fast and the Furious, he does wear a SWAT team outfit, so he's not as obvious in this. But I guess the point was that I'm so convinced that these are the people, which he was not convinced at all, which we'll get to later, because there's definitely a scene in this movie that's very iconic that gets used in Hot Fuzz, and we'll talk about Hot Fuzz a little bit. But I don't know. Dude, does it really matter? Like, whatever. It's cool. It's cool.
It's cool. It's a great scene.
This is what took you out. There's like 20 people in this scene that have no lines other than getting shot.
No, this didn't take me out. What kept me in was the naked girl kicking Johnny Utah's face in the bathroom. That was awesome.
Heck yeah, dude. She's putting in that work, son.
Hey, look, it's not because
Utah's like, but also it's Keanu Reeves, so it's the best. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. Like immediately, like embarrassed.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, my bad.
Yeah,
like,
this
during this high intense shootout, he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I saw your boobs. Such a weird.
And this chick,
a weird, great moment though.
Dude, this chick's had to fight her way out of a house before. You could so tell. Like,
dude, she is kicking and grabbing anything around her to beat up Johnny Utah. He's like, just please stop. Utah's like, you know what I mean? He's like trying to get her under control. He's like, no, just quit.
All right, that's enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
If you, all right, look, we've made fun of this movie and love this movie like equally. If for people out there listening to this that are like, I'm never going to watch Point Break, at least watch this scene.
Oh, yeah.
At least one scene. There's 2 scenes in this movie you should watch. This is one of them. It's great.
Hey, the movie's worth watching. They didn't lose me here. It was weird. It's weird because, again, why is he there? Here, you want to know where they lost me? Where they lost me was the bank robbery. That's where you lost me. You know now that it's not the guys from the house. It's been proven. Okay. Look, Chris, he's been told by his partner, whoever these guys are, they're surfers. They stick together. It's a very tight group. It's a group within a group, right? It's a very tight circle. They always hang together. They might live together, blah, 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 blah. By the way, you're hanging out with a group like that. So you go to the bank in broad daylight with no ski mask on, no FBI gear at all, looking like you do all the time. And here they come out the bank, making eye contact. And you announce yourself as FBI. You have lost me. It's now ridiculous. Like, what happened? Like, oh, he didn't know. Don't the Chris? Come on, he knew.
I feel like
the
what
guys.
happens because this movie is an hour and 20 minutes long is they cut like 30 minutes from this movie. Because I don't know exactly what you're saying, but they're just like whatever, dude, send it. Like,
dude, mine's 2 hours. What movie are you watching?
What are you?
Yeah, dude, I've got 2 hours and 1 minute, 2 minutes. Yeah, dude.
I'm watching the real. No, mine is 2 hours and 2 minutes as well.
Yeah, the running time's 122 minutes. Yeah.
We could have watched Heat. We could have given ourselves 48 extra minutes.
You can't be regretting it now, dude.
I can't. We're already in. We're already here. We're locked in. For whatever reason, I thought this was a wait. This movie does feel short, to be fair, which is good.
It does. It does move pretty quick.
Now that means RoboCop 2 is the same length as this movie, and that felt like we were watching the Titanic.
That felt like days. That movie was days. Like you wake up and you're like, oh, it's still on. No.
Where's Red Foreman?
Yes. Where's Red Foreman when you need him? Yeah.
This entire, and then see, all of this setup happens with the surfing, hanging out on the beach, and everything's very slow, and the Utah Game 2, and all of this stuff is happening. This is like the first hour of this movie, and then we get the one shootout, and then it gets really weird here.
It gets really weird
because it's like a fast forward, and also there is one death. I think is Anthony Kiedis' death, where it's like the complete breakdown. That's very much the Jesse death in Fast and the Furious. If you're keeping track of this being the same exact film, because it is the same exact movie. But then everything after that gets really fast in a really weird way. Like we get the breakup with Johnny Utah, and then their heist, and we'll get into it. I'll let you lead this conversation because I feel like you're more on track than me.
Well, they have the bank robbery, and of course it goes incredibly south.
Yeah, because one of their guys is openly admitting to being a cop and shooting people
Well, look.
Now that you've pointed it out, you've ruined it. It's just like the Indiana Jones thing, where it's like it didn't matter if he was there or not.
He didn't matter. Yeah, he had no effect on the film. By the way, that is incorrect. If you want you want to feel better about that theory, that's incorrect. He saved Marion. He absolutely, because Marion would have had the medallion, and when the Germans came to get it, she wouldn't have given it to him. They would have killed her. So Indy was there to save Marion.
So he was there for like actually 15 minutes of the movie.
Well, either way, the theory that he didn't have an impact is untrue. It's incorrect.
Well, he had an impact, but she's not in any of the other movies, so not really.
Well, she's in one of those crappy movies they released later that no one's watched.
That's true. Yeah.
But the fact is, he did do some good.
Crystal Skull, the Wookiee timepiece. Which one?
We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that. So look, they have this bank robbery. They come out in the mass. Busey's got his 2 meatball subs, which he gets to take 2 bites of. Which, he
should have had him get 3. Should have had him get 3.
Sometimes the dialogue of this movie, I'm like, come on.
Okay, I'm gonna cuss one time. I'm gonna get one allowance on this because
you can't. I gotta take it out. It's more work on me, dude. Come on.
Is a donkey a bad word?
Is a donkey a bad word?
Yeah. What's the term for donkey? Is that bad? Is that gonna do a bleep?
You can say a.
Okay. All right. I'm so hungry I could eat the ass out of a rhino.
I didn't say that. So you got to say A, like the letter A.
Oh, my bad. Tom, come on. I got like at least one freebie. Have you seen some of the other guests that you have around here, sir?
Oh,
not naming any names, Joseph.
Oh my God, yeah, dude. Let me tell you, if I had a one of those delay, I'd have to hit it all the time with Joe, bro. Let me tell you.
I apologize to all the children out there listening. That is my one and only bad word. I'll be forever clean like I've always been going forward. But it's an iconic line. It's a great line. It's
Yeah, it's a great
kind of
line.
hard.
I mean,
It's kind of hard not to say, especially because the man saying it is so crazy.
yeah, for sure. And then so the heist happens. They all see each other. Johnny goes back. He knows it's them. He knows it's them. He absolutely knows it's them. Because if Johnny was dumb before, he ain't dumb now. He knows these are the boys he's been rolling with. Okay. So then here comes Bodie up into his house like nothing happened.
What's up,
Dude.
guys?
Dude, are you kidding me? This is the moment you completely lost me. Like, I'm sitting there going, you're not going to go with him, are you? Why don't you just arrest him? What are you doing? Like,
I mean, race wars, brother.
but he came into your house, man. Like, these are the guys.
Arrest him. It's his friend. He didn't want to arrest him the first time. He could have put them on the track of the original. This is not as far-fetched as you think, because the entire story is how much he has unleashed this person that Johnny Utah always wanted to be.
Yeah.
So you're being way too hard on this, because the idea is that Johnny Utah was this sheltered boy from Ohio, and he moved out here and became a police officer or whatever, and he hates his life. And then he meets Bodie, and Bodie has unleashed this rebel inside of him. There's something cool about Bodie that he's very attracted to, which, I mean, it's Patrick Swayze, so take that for what it is.
Well, he's pretty. He's pretty. He's got the hair.
He's in love with Patrick Swayze, is what I'm getting at. So he's not. I mean, the same thing with Paul Walker and Vin Diesel, honestly.
You got to stop with that. You got to cut it out, man.
But
this movie was first.
This movie was first, but you get what I'm saying. Like, this is like the reasoning and telling him. This is his best friend. Like, Johnny Utah, I got no friends. He lived in Ohio.
No disrespect to our friends in Ohio.
No, I'm obviously joking, but that is the whole setup. Is like, he's from the Midwest. He played quarterback and he lived in the Midwest and moved out to the big city. He's got no friends, and now we're going to make him an undercover cop because he's got long hair. He's got that entire setup for his character.
He's got that trick knee, which, by the way, he doesn't get through training at Quantico with that trick knee, Chris. That ain't happening. This dude does not make agent with a knee that can be tricked out or hurt that easily. There's no effing way, dude.
I don't know, man. What if he got the $1 million man leap ability that we don't know about? What if off screen?
We could repair him. We have the technology.
No, but you know what I'm saying. Like,
I get. I just don't.
There's love there, dude. That's the whole point. Is like that he's falling in with he is becoming the anti-hero. He understands what Bodie is about. He's like, I don't agree with robbing people, but he's not murdering anyone. Yeah.
I just I can't say when that scene happens, and they're in the back of the van and he's telling them, and I just don't know if I feel like they're best friends at this point. I get the idea, and you're totally right. I think you explained it great. You're dead on. I just don't know if I feel like he is his buddy. Tom Clark's 6M podcast is sponsored in part by Radius Law Group. Every day, Radius helps individuals, families, small businesses, and nonprofit organizations throughout North Carolina, Florida, and Pennsylvania resolve their legal issues by providing effective legal counsel in the areas of estate planning, as well as elder law and Medicaid. Radius Law holds the radical belief that working with a lawyer can indeed be enjoyable. So give them a call at 1-800-519-5667 for more information and tell them that Tom Clark's 6M podcast sent you. We didn't even have a moment of his partner saying, you're not in over your head, are you? Don't protect these guys, Johnny. They're the bad guys. Do we ever even get that moment happening?
No, we don't. But at the same time, Johnny knows that they're the bad guys throughout the entire time. He's choosing to go along with it. He made a choice by telling the police the wrong person to begin with. Johnny Utah is just as guilty in these heists. You are
making this up. You're writing your own movie now.
No, that's what happens. He literally puts them on the wrong path so his friends might have a chance to get out after the surfer crew gets shot up at that drug house. Dude. That is literally the entire point of the movie. He is literally he has turned his back on the police at this point. He comes back around at the end, but not
I did
really.
not take that at all from this movie. Holy
Are you
Lord.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you.
He has a chance. Well, we'll get there. He has him in his sights. We'll say that.
Well, look, when they do the house raid and it's over and the DEA agent is screaming at him that these guys couldn't have committed those robberies, he is upset. He is shook. He ain't shook for the sake of acting. He's shook because he knows he effed up.
No,
I don't think he at all intended on this happening.
Keanu Reeves is a bad actor. That's not the plot of this movie. He knows going in. It's not the right crew.
I totally disagree with you. I cannot believe we couldn't be farther apart on that.
When we get to the ending, then we'll see.
Okay, all right, that's cool. I'm up for it.
Because he has a clear shot.
He does.
Of someone who disgusted him, embarrassed him in front of the force, and what does he do? What does he do, Tom?
Well, I have an opinion on that. You want to hear it now or later?
He's a terrible chase stormtrooper.
That. Here's my point. Look, and this is coming from a place of uneducation because I'm not a gun guy. I don't know what gun he's firing, number one. Number two, what range does it have? Here's why I'm asking. He got quite a long ways away from him on foot, dude. So my question to you,
movie, brother, they're not thinking about the pistol range.
Don't take that away from me.
We're skipping to the end. I get what you're saying, but let's see. There's one final heist.
Yeah, because the long and short of it here, kids, we haven't forgot about you, is that Swayze, this guy Bodie, not a great dude, because he now has Tyler locked up by this crazy dude that they all agree is crazy, and that's this guy Rosie, which I guess if your name was Rosie, you'd be crazy too. But he's got this Tyler lady all locked up, and like if he doesn't get there in 3 hours or 6 hours, whatever the number is, then they're going to kill her. They're going to do something terrible to her. He won't be able to stop her. And so he's like, you got to go on this heist with us, and there's handing out masks. And Johnny don't get a mask because Swayze is the villain, okay? So doesn't give him a mask and doesn't even give him a shotgun with any shells in it. And then we had to have the cop on the floor.
Why is he in a mask? Because he's already a cop. Cops aren't going to shoot their own kind. Right, Tom? There's no way they would shoot at someone that they know is part of this investigation.
The guy lying on the floor doesn't know that. He's a cop.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
It's almost like police officers don't talk to one another.
Gotcha. Well, Keanu's FBI. FBI and cops hate each other. Isn't that how the movies always make it?
Wouldn't you figure it out if there's one guy with no mask on, everyone else has a mask on, and the other guy's yelling at him like he's a cop? Sorry. Maybe use some discretion with your... This is going to get dark if I keep going with this. I'm just going to let it go. Maybe use some discretion with your firearm.
This friggin' idiot, this friggin' cop. Let me ask you a question. Put yourself in this dude's shoes. There's 6 of them? I don't know. 6 of them.
I got like a 36 snub-nosed pistol. I'm going to take them all out.
He got a couple of them. But do you really think if you're that guy, you're going to get all of them?
No, dude. I'm just going to lay there and be like, take the money. Who cares, dude? It's federally insured.
Fairly insured.
Whatever.
If you want to do something, then you wait till they're out the door. Go out the door and get the tag number. Like shoot at the tires and then duck for cover. I don't know. Like
or just do nothing because there's already a FBI agent that's like, no way, man. I'm the only one that's not wearing a mask.
Again, how would he know that? And you know what's great?
Because no bank robbery in history has had one guy that's like, I'm not going to wear a disguise while all my friends are wearing a disguise. You just have to assume that guy's a hostage. Like, you don't have to assume that he's an FBI agent, but you have to assume it's like, why does he not have a gimmick on? Like, you have to. It's like if I was wrestling like a lucha mask and I'm the only guy that showed up without a mask, you're like, that's the white dude right there.
And by the way, the cop shot Utah.
Give me 2.
Yeah, the cop shot Utah, man.
Well, What do you want me to tell you? He once again, he's bad at his job.
He's bad at his job. Yeah. I'm just going to
And
shoot
also,
everybody.
I don't even think he's a cop because, like, in LA, they have armed security guards. I think he is a security guard.
No, he's a cop. He told the armed security guard he's a cop. And
Oh,
yeah,
no, you're right. I'm thinking of it.
He's like,
yes,
he's like, back me up. And the guard's like, I ain't backing you up. Don't do this. Are you out of your mind? Like, I'm with the guard.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. I forgot about this. But also, it's like, dude, that guy ain't got a mask on. What is this?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And plus, by the way,
I mean, the one guy tried to talk the cop out of shit. He's like, dude, he ain't even got a mask on. You already know it's weird.
Yeah.
Everyone shows up with Reagan masks on. This one dude's out here.
He's a beat cop, by the way. Do you think he's a detective or a beat cop?
I mean, is he gonna? Well, he dies, but if he didn't die, he's busted down to like street work, right? Like it's just like people through after this.
If he wasn't a beat cop, he will be.
He had 6 targets to shoot at. He shot at the one that didn't have a mask on.
Yeah, right. Twice.
Like literally, everyone else looks like a menacing threat. He shoots the one guy with no mask. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and then here comes Ben Harp yelling at everybody again with the yelling.
Yeah, that's gonna make it better. Johnny Utah's bleeding out. He's like, rah!
Yeah, partner's accessory to murder. Utah, there are 3 dead people here. One was a police officer, and then he takes him to show him the body. Like, by the way, boss, he shot at me first.
He shot me.
Yeah.
Like legitimately.
Legitimately shot at me.
But he didn't do anything. This guy just started popping off.
Yeah.
We could have ended this peacefully.
The only thing this McGinley, this Ben Harp character was missing was the stogie. The only thing it was missing.
Oh yeah, like a chewed, like just half.
Yeah.
Like not even a full cigar. Like chewy,
short fat stub.
Yeah, the definitely the 1940s, like the Mimsy.
Yeah, yes.
Character cigar, yeah.
Oh my God,
sure,
yeah.
For sure. You're spot on with that.
I love McGinley, but man, this character. And then Busey just knocks him out, which I bet Busey's done this a time or two in his life, I suspect.
Punched a cop, probably.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, possibly. Hey man, listen, if it's
kind of goes into that whole Ted Danson thing that we were going to do for this show.
It does. If it's a choice between whether or not to have Gary Busey on your side, you want Gary Busey on your side every time.
I want Ice-T on my side based on surviving the game.
Oh, but... I see. Well, if you're going to be like that about it.
No, Gary Busey's crazy.
Crazy.
Everyone knows that Pop is crazy. Literally everyone in the force is like, this is why he doesn't have a partner. Oh my God. They're like, look here, Ohio, or wherever.
Yeah.
Omaha, get over there.
Listen here, Omaha.
It's your new partner. He's like, I'm from Utah. Literally, my last name is Utah. Like, seems a little spot on.
Yeah.
You're from Utah. I think you might be from South Dakota.
Yeah, you're not yelling near enough enough here. That impression's not even close. This guy screaming the whole movie.
The cops? Yeah, I can't.
Dude.
I'm not trying to blow your listeners' ears out with my terrible cop impersonation.
By the way, let me back up a sec. When they all dive out that plane and the whole crew knows it's Johnny, they're all loving on him, dude. Like he's a brother. They all are like in midair going like, how's it feel, man? It's great. You're doing awesome, man. You're great. And they're all smiling and just loving it. And I'm like, this is the wildest crew of criminals I've ever seen in my life. Like they're just, any one of them could have went into business for himself and kicked him in midair or done something crazy to him. But like, they're all awesome with him.
Bane was there. She's like, maybe I'm wondering why one might throw that from an airplane.
Like, there's so much weird stuff that happens that I don't expect. That caught me off guard too.
They're weird, dude. They're all on drugs. It's like, it's subtle, but they're all really on drugs. A lot of drugs. It's only evident with Anthony Kiedis because Anthony Kiedis was on a lot of drugs, but
sure.
they're all on drugs. except for Bodhi, he's spiritual, man.
Yeah, and again, his acting's keeping everything even keel, even though this story's gone off a cliff. And you got weird theories. You have such weird theories. I've never heard this in my life.
These are not the weird theories. These are the theories the listeners need to hear, Tom. The real truth of what happened in Point Break.
Time to get the truth out there.
Bodhi is not a hero. He's a love interest. If you ever look, I will send you a picture right now of Keanu Reeves staring at Patrick Swayze, and you tell me I'm wrong.
I mean, we all looked at Patrick Swayze like that. Are you kidding me?
That's true. Keanu's like, I got this girlfriend, but man, Bodhi. That's the whole movie, actually. That's just summed it up.
Maybe it's like Jay and Silent Bob, where it could become his hetero life mate. You don't know.
His heterosexual life mate, yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that. They like to sing, the time, Morse Day, and the time together.
Yeah. Morse Day and Jerome. Maybe it's a Morse Day and Jerome situation. I don't know.
I got a funny story after the show. I'll tell you about Mr. Morse Day himself.
I'm always up for a great Morse Day story. Freaking legend. So we get the heist happens. People get shot. Johnny Utah gets yelled at, and then they get to Bodhi at the airport. Utah figures it out because suddenly he's a smart cop, and so they get to the airport, and Bodhi's there with his brother, and they're trying to get out. And of course, Utah shows up with Pappas. Pappas goes down. Heart-wrenching moment. We spoiled it earlier. I spoiled it earlier.
You spoiled it 5 minutes into the show.
It was 10. It was 10. It was 10.
You spoiled the partner getting murdered, literally. Like, if someone had never seen this movie before, they're like, oh, Gary Busey dies?
Why would I watch it now? Yeah.
Also, make sure you're watching the 1991 version of Point Break and not whatever they called Point Break later on. I don't know what that was, but
I think they called the remake Dumpster Fire. I haven't seen it, but I bet it made like $27. I don't know.
I mean, it didn't have Patrick Swayze and Keanu Reeves in it, so
that's all I need to know. That's all I need to know, buddy.
Literally, we had 2 seconds of conversation, and then he dies.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a 2015 version of this. Here's how much money it didn't make. You want to hear this? The budget was $105 million. It made It made $133.7 million.
That's pretty good. They made a profit, though.
Stop. That was not a profit.
Dude, props for making a profit. $135 million.
That is not a profit. But I don't think that's profit.
Is that US, though, or is that full?
That's full. No way is that profit.
You're probably right, because then you start thinking advertisement and
marketing. Dude.
Yeah, that stuff gets weird really quick.
What's the rule of thumb? You spend half the budget of the movie on marketing, so technically, if they spend $105 million, then they spent $50 million on marketing. Oh yeah, they're down.
What was the Airplane was like $5 million, and they made like $180 million.
Yeah, it was $11 million, and they made some crazy number.
The last one we talked about was ridiculous. I was like, man, you think no wonder they made sequels of that.
No kidding.
Yeah,
but look,
I did not watch that new one because
no, I haven't seen it. I don't think anybody went to see it, and I don't know why anybody would care.
And R.I.P. Patrick Swayze. Like, why even do the movie?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know. Let's see. Edgar Ramirez and Luke Bracey. There's 2 names that won't get you to a movie anytime soon, I'll bet you.
I can't say that because maybe they were great. Maybe movie is way, way better. But like, honestly, you're some big shoes here for a movie that has a ongoing franchise that is the exact same movie.
Exact same movie. Delroy Lindo's in it too, and Delroy Lindo is fantastic. And Ray Winstone's in it. Ray Winstone's great. But I don't see anything else that would have brought me to the dance.
Yeah, it's bad when you're like reading like the 4th or 5th character of the Point Break movie to be like, oh, Anthony Kiedis, he's the one that's going to get me here.
Right.
Well, nothing against any of those actors. I think we're fine, but like, dude, a Point Break movie in 2016 and also it's not Point Break. It is not a heist movie. It's like its own weird thing. Don't watch it. It's terrible. I watched it a long time ago, and I was like, "Why am I watching this?" And I was like, "Oh, the answer is it's on TNT because that's what they show." All on TNT.
It is a point that has been belabored for years now, for the past 10 years. Everybody and their brother's wife and kids for that matter, want to know why these studios can't just make original content. And the answer, Chris, is the same today as it was 10 years ago. It's just now glaringly obvious. There is not as much original content out there as people think there is. And number two, original content is risky. It's you're rolling the dice on new director. You're rolling the dice on a story that hasn't been made by this guy or told in this way before. And studios could choose to take a risk. Streamers can take a risk. Next thing you know, they make 6 episodes of a season. Boom, cancel it, moving on. But what they will roll the dice on, Chris, is IP that has made money for them in the past. You know what I mean? I don't like it, but that's where we are.
All right, but here's what you do with that, right?
Hmm?
And the video game industry has figured this out perfectly, specifically Japanese video games. Final Fantasy VII Remaster. Just remaster the thing people want to see and then cycle that back through the theaters because they'll be like, oh, it'd be really cool to see Point Break in theaters again. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Just do that.
They do that. Aren't they doing it right now with the Star Wars, the original trilogy? I think.
With episode 1. So
No, not the original, the prequels.
They're literally doing, yeah, that's episode 1, right? Am I wrong on that?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Blech, I just don't like to talk about it.
I hate the numbering system as well, but that is, okay. I thought I was crazy. I was like, oh man.
No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. Because much like you, there's only 3 Star Wars movies.
I don't hate the sequel trilogy. At all. I don't have a lot of hangups that a lot of people had about those last 3 movies. Like
Misa thinking you're telling lies.
Those are prequels. I ain't talking about prequels. Those are horrible.
Hey, that third one's not that bad. I think that's the one they're actually touring is the one where Yoda fights the Emperor and they're jumping around on all the plates.
Revenge of the Sith. Yeah.
I think that's what they're touring. Because there's no way that they're touring those first 2. The first one is here's a pod racing movie, and we made this awesome character named Darth Maul, and he just dies. He does this cool trick with his sword, and then immediately gets cut in half, like the biggest wimp of all time.
Yeah,
sick. The second one is just that kid being like, "Yeah, get him, Dad." That's the whole movie, and then the third one you get Yoda. So that sums up the first 3 Star Wars movies.
By the way, spoiler alert! Jesus.
Well, hey, people need to know what they're getting into with those first 3 Star Wars. Just skip to the third one. If you go from the third one to the original series, you're probably doing okay. Those first 2, skip that, bro. Skip all of Qui-Gon Jinn, and I know Darth Maul looks cool, but trust me, he ain't that cool, brother. He is not that cool. He would totally get messed up by James Earl Jones from Conan the Barbarian. He'd totally get shot in the heart with a snake. Yeah, don't watch that. It's bad.
Are you suggesting Patrick Swayze could have roundhouse kicked that dude?
Dude, Patrick Swayze would have roundhouse kicked the sword out of his sword. It would have became 4 swords and then chopped Darth Maul in half. Which would not have been hard because Darth Maul literally jumps in the air and gets cut in half. That's his entire thing. The trailer makes Darth Maul look so cool. It's like, oh man, look how sick sword spin. He's got dual wielding lightsaber. The thing is sick. It's like a bow staff. He's going in. And then you go watch the movie and just okay.
One super kick, he's down. Yeah.
Literally, Shawn Michaels super kicked that man, he was dead.
Yeah, he's dead.
Really? What?
So look, if we didn't because I'm pivoting. If we didn't like skydiving before, are you behind the scene of Johnny Utah diving out that plane without a freaking parachute?
Only because of the little monologue they have with each other. She's like, "You want to live on the edge," or
yeah,
it's some good acting and non-acting.
Yeah, that's fair.
Happening in the scene. He trusts Bodhi though. He goes out.
Doesn't trust him. You think he believes, man, your take is awesome. You think that he believes that Brody's going to save his life in midair?
Yeah, I do believe that. That's the relationship that they had.
I think Johnny's just out of his mind at this point, and he wants to save her, and he can't let this guy get away.
Man, you like honestly, if you look at this movie, his relationship with Bodhi is way more relevant than his relationship with his female.
It's fair.
About.
A lot more complicated too.
It is a lot more complicated. So you can look at my theory any way you want, but
by the way, can I ask you this? Couldn't he have told that pilot, "I'm an FBI agent. Land this plane right now"?
No way,
like,
because the pilot would have been like, "Dude, no, I'm a cocaine flyer." Where's the treetop flyer? The Steven Stills line. He's like, "I'm a treetop flyer."
What? By the way, what's the pilot story? After the pilot's flying the plane, turns around. Wait a minute, what? Did he just? Oh my God! Like, where'd that guy end up? Did he just fly? And...
I don't know. I like to think that the pilot is the same pilot from The End of Blow. He's still out here. He's like, whenever you need someone to fly below the radar. Also, great song, by the way. If you guys have never heard it, anyone listening to the show, listen to Treetop Flyer by Steven Stills. It is specifically about men coming back from Vietnam and not having any other skills other than flying an airplane, and there's only so many airplane jobs and moving cocaine.
Oh my God.
Treetop Flyer. It's a great song.
We were just talking about Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young over the weekend for something else. Not on a podcast, just conversation.
I'm a Stills and Buffalo Springfield guy. I'm not a Neil Young guy, but I appreciate.
I'm a Neil Young guy, dude. I like Neil Young quite a bit.
You know what I do appreciate about Neil Young? But this is going off topic, but his he writes great songs, but like also his ability to just send it on a guitar solo, regardless. He's like, I'm just gonna send it. Did you see this G string? I'm gonna bend this harder than anyone's ever been anything for 20 seconds.
Yeah.
It's great. I love it.
Yeah,
I love Buffalo Springfield. Him and Steven Stills together. I wish they would have made more music together outside of Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, because like Steven Stills is amazing and Neil Young, those two together would have been really better than Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. But
I mean, I can't disagree with that, but I never saw Steven Stills jump out of a plane with no parachute.
Well,
I'm not saying he didn't do it.
You never heard Treetop Flyer. That's what the whole song is about. No, I'm kidding. Well, maybe I'm kidding. I don't know. He knew someone did it.
Well, look. So Utah catches up to Bodie at the end, and he knows where to go. It's Australia because the big storm's coming in a year. We forgot that, kids. But here comes a big storm. He wants to surf this big storm, and he lets him do it. And the Australian cops.
Oh, we didn't talk about how he gets away with it. No.
How he gets away with the what?
Did we already talk about the gun? Isn't the gun thing happening before this surf scene where he arrests him on the beach?
What gun thing are we talking about?
Where he puts the gun in there and just goes, no.
Well, of course, when he tries to, he contemplates shooting him.
Yeah, we skipped all of that, though.
No, we didn't. I talked about it. You didn't want to talk about it, so I talked about it.
No, we didn't. We did not talk about this.
We totally did, because I mentioned the range of that handgun. Okay.
No, we did like 40 minutes ago, and I was like, let's talk about it once we get to the end of the film, and now you're skipping straight to the beach scene.
We're in day 2 of the podcast. You got to cut me some slack here.
Anyways, Johnny Chaw, he has a clean shot. He's looking up at him. His heart, the lust, it builds up inside. He's like, I can't shoot him. I love him too much. And he's like, no. And he shoots his gun in the air. And there's
I disagree.
There's a great moment in Hot Fuzz where they recreate the same exact scene.
Yes.
And they set it up earlier in the movie. He's like, you ever pointed your gun in the air and just shot it and said no?
Right. Yeah.
It also ties back to Star Wars. So.
He could have shot him in the leg and not killed him.
He wants to shoot him, Tom. He loves him. He loves Bodhi.
He doesn't want him to feel any pain, man.
I mean, I don't even mean it like he loves it, like he wants to have a relationship with him. He's like, he loves him. It's like his bro, dude. He has decided that Bodhi is the best version of what he wants to be. Like, whether he believes us right or not, that's who he wants to be as a person.
Right.
That's the entire movie, is like, I want to be as cool as that guy. It's like when you're in middle school and the guy always gets in trouble in class, but you're like, that guy's pretty cool. It's that. It is that the entire movie is that story. Like Keanu Reeves will never be as cool as Patrick Swayze, which is great casting choice, by the way, because that's just a fact.
Right.
Even though I love Keanu, that's the whole movie. He can't pull the trigger on him because he'll never.
Yeah.
He's like, that's my hero, brother. He's like in that scene where he's pointing the gun, he could shoot him. He shoots away and goes, no. And then in his mind, he's like, there goes my hero.
By the way, we have to say this. We have not mentioned it the whole show. For you Mythbusters fans out there, the Mythbusters did a whole Point Break episode. It is fantastic. It's so good. They did the jumping out of the plane. They did the firing up in the air. They did a lot of other stuff too. It's an awesome episode, man. So it's really good. I highly recommend it. I'm a Mythbusters guy for sure.
Yeah, those guys, they only live to be radical.
So do
you remember how Mythbusters actually got started, by the way? I tell people this story all the time and they think I'm crazy.
I don't Adam and Jamie were not even working together, were they? Did they know each other when the show started?
They built, so you remember that show Robo Wars?
Yep.
They built this indestructible robot. It was one of those very flat square ones that just had the lift plate on the front. Mm-hmm. And they wrecked house with this robot for forever.
See, I knew Grant was in that. I didn't realize Adam and Jamie were too.
And somehow from that, I don't know how they came together or whatever, but I know that they started on the Robo War show. Which is that's just kind of crazy to think about. That's a great show, by the way. People go back and watch Mythbusters. It's pretty fun. It's fun.
Oh, it's awesome. I binge it all the time. I binge it every weekend. Adam, I was working on movies before the show happened. So he already had a background, and I'm sure Jamie did too. But man, what a great show! It's one of those shows you wish just could have gone on for 30 years. Because
I wish it would have stayed the same for the first two, the season 1 and 2. Because when they get into the other side characters that they introduce and they do their own experiments, I don't care as much. But yeah,
really,
still a fun show.
Well, you know, they brought
Amy and what's the other cast?
You got Cary Grant and Tori.
Cary Grant and Tori, yeah. Like they were there, they did stuff, but
they had to bring them on though.
Yeah, we're just waiting for people to blow something up. Like,
no, well,
you guys, you're doing filler now.
Well, they had to. The show wanted it. The show wanted more than Adam and Jamie could do by themselves, and because they said the show's a hit, we got to do more and more and more. And Adam flat out said, we can't do that. We don't have the time. And they're like, well, what if we give you a team? You know, what if we put, I'm like, fine, that'll work. They were all for it. And that's how they had so much content.
I'm not saying that they didn't do that or that the network didn't want them to do that. But also, what if you just did a 30-minute show?
But because it's Mythbusters, it's more fun in an hour. That's obvious.
But like, what if I could just get like...
No.
You're like, no.
No, like, you just made your own argument.
No,
Mythbusters
what if I could just have 2 Mythbusters that were 30 minutes long of the main characters?
You had Adam and Jamie at the end because the other 3 were taken off the show because they cut the budget, and so all you had was Adam and Jamie.
That gets I'm not even talking about that. I just meant just do.
It didn't feel good after that.
Yeah, that gets weird. That's
it did get weird.
There's some lawsuits there with how much people are getting paid and stuff, which that's unfortunate.
Yep.
So from what I recall, we're talking like 20 years ago now. On this. All right, but great show.
So it is a great show. Highly recommend it. Is Bodhi alive in that universe? Forget real world. And again, rest in peace, Patrick Swayze. But in that universe, did Bodhi live, and did he somehow evade police? Perhaps.
Oh, Bodhi's still alive for sure. I think he went to jail, but he's still alive.
Would he have known?
He wanted to kill himself instead of going to jail.
Well, or hear me out. Did he put something out in the water like a scuba tank? You know what I mean? Did he something where he could get away?
It's almost like the end scene of Fast and the Furious, where he's
Stop!
like, I'll never go back, Brian."
Stop it! Stop it!
It's not my fault that they set the movies up the same exact way and gave the sequels to the wrong movie.
They did give the sequels to the wrong movie. You got that part right.
We could have had 5 more Patrick Swayze movies.
Man.
Is
this his best movie, by the way, Patrick Swayze?
No, because it's kind of hard, because like Dirty Dancing and Ghost and like I think it, like as a guy's movie, for me, I like this more than Roadhouse, but I could see someone saying Roadhouse. Also, Roadhouse has Terry Funk in it, so, and Sam Elliott. So I don't know.
Hard to argue against Terry Funk anytime.
It's hard to argue against Terry Funk plus Sam Elliott, and also why we have not more movies with Sam Elliott and Terry Funk? Like, it's kind of outlaw gangers.
No kidding.
But yeah, no, I don't know. To me, this is Patrick Swayze's best film. A lot of people would probably argue, like, I think Ghost is his best acted film. But then again, he's a great dancer, so like maybe it's Dirty Dancing. Nobody puts baby in a corner or whatever.
Well, in that movie, he's kind of going to jail. I'm just saying. He's kind of going to jail.
Is he?
Yeah.
So that movie, have you ever watched the documentary about that movie where it was like written? Have you ever like listened to the person that wrote that movie? It's like, no, this really happened to me. It's like a whole story. It gets like really specific. Like they shot a lot of the scenes from the camp that she went to, and the entire story. It's really weird. It's on like not the toys that made us, but the movies that made us. She's on that, and it's very interesting. Like, but anyways, Patrick Swayze didn't go to jail. Well, until now, he's going to jail now at the end of this movie, but he did not go to jail. He did not put baby in a corner, and he did not go to jail.
And by the way, Jim, baby should never have had that nose job. I thought she was pretty as she was, but what do I know?
think me and you both were about to put over like Ferris Bueller's sister really hard, so
yes.
I'll let you roll with it.
Dude, she had that nose job. She became unrecognizable at that point. I'm like,
I had like such a weird crush on her the first time I saw Ferris Bueller in the scene where they're in the prison and she's talking to Charlie Sheen.
Yeah.
And she's finally not as mad at Ferris as she was before. Yeah. And I was like, oh, she's so cute. I love her so much. She's like her and Molly Ringwald.
Yeah.
Because I grew up on TNT, so get what you get.
If you say
pitch a fit.
If you say Ferris Bueller, you lose a testicle. What a great line. That's a great line.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's a fun one. I'm sure you've done that one. That was good.
Oh, it's on the 6M, baby. Go look it up in archives, kids. Can't miss it.
But there's no way the commentary is better than my hot take on the fact that Keanu Reeves loved this man.
I won't dispute that. I think there's some truth to that.
It's his guiding light, dude. It is literally. In fact, I made the comparison, and we've been kind of joking around the Fast and the Furious thing, but they do a better job in Fast and the Furious of showing that importance and making that moral compass decision than they do in this movie. Because at the end, you still don't know that Johnny Utah has chosen. Like, it's also why it'd be a great sequel, because he could break, he could break Bodhi out of jail. Mm-hmm. Right? Because, like, even at the end, he's like, whoa, it's radical, man. There's not like I finally got you, bud, or whatever. There's not that moment. Yeah. There's some great quotes in this movie. Bodhi, fear causes hesitation. Hesitation will cause your worst fears to come true.
I don't know about great quotes. There are some quotes in this movie.
No, hold on. If you read these as Ultimate Warrior, they're the best.
Oh, I see. Well, if you're going to put that on
ultimate, you got to be willing to pay the ultimate price.
It's basic dog psychology. If you scare them and get them peeing down their leg, they submit. But if you project weakness, that promotes violence, and that's how people get hurt.
That is great, though, because, like, as we learned in Heat the next year, or actually he came in, 93? So 2 years later. Mm-hmm. We do learn that, like, take control of the situation. Sorry. get to the van.
Yep.
But yeah, that makes sense, right? Like, take control of the situation, make everybody scared, and just get the money and get out, which was their whole plan until Johnny Utah showed up and turned this small town bandits that stole like $500 into a bunch of bandits that killed a bunch of people.
Yeah, no kidding.
Or actually, the police killed more people than the bandits, if we're being fair. Which sometimes checks out.
Hey, I'm not saying anything.
Depending on the situation. I mean, watch the movie. I don't know what to tell you.
Watch the movie, yeah.
Get mad at 1991, not me, in 2025.
Well, I still think we should have had a part 2. I hate that we didn't.
We did. It was called 2.2 Break.
Look, if Swayze had lived, you could revisit it now. I don't know what you'd do with it. You could have revisited it 20 years ago or whatever the time frame we're talking about.
So you want to know what I would do with this, Tom? If you could revisit it now and Patrick would have been his age, he lived till now. Count of Monte Cristo.
Oh.
He tells this young buck, well, great buck, but yeah, he tells this young buck about his adventures and all his radical lifestyles and ideology, and this kid finally gets out of prison. And then he's the new Bodhi. That's pretty good, right?
Hey, man. You know, why not?
Hollywood. Also, Hollywood's doing a new Count of Monte Cristo, and it looks awful, so don't see that. But the Point Break version of my Count of Monte Cristo would be pretty good.
Well, kids, I don't know what more we got than that. But that's Point Break for you. A movie that should have had a part 2 at least. And I think in our version, I got a version. My version is that in that universe, Bodhi made it and got away. And in Chris's version, Bodhi's locked up. And then maybe, we got the Johnny Utah moment of Johnny Utah, Starsky and hutching his badge into the ocean, which none of you will get that reference. But I don't know why we needed that moment of him. I guess it's fine. Like,
because it has to co-line exactly.
Scott, what are you gonna do now? There, freaking Johnny Utah.
Get over this.
I didn't want to do it. He was my best friend. Really though?
I don't want to drive this car. It scares the shit out of me. All right. Anyways, let's have a drag race right in front of a train.
Yeah. Right.
Fast and the Furious. By the way, Fast and the Furious is way dumber than Point Break, honestly. And Point Break is dumb. It's a great movie. Point Break is amazing. It's a fun watch. You get yourself a couple drinks, some cool snacks, whatever. Point Break is a fun watch. Fast and the Furious also a fun watch, but like in comparison, especially considering it is the exact same movie, it's way worse.
Yeah, it's way worse. And they got progressively worse. But dude bros love them. And I don't think of you as a dude bro, so you're safe. But a bunch of dude bros love those movies. I
love a Toyota Supra as much as the next guy. I think it's really cool when he pulls up and he's like, how much did that cost you? And then he beats that guy. That's pretty cool. It's cool. But you know what? That movie's not Point Break. It's not Point Break. That's the key.
Hey,
I'm less harsh on Fast and the Furious than you are, but
it's terrible. I'm an Expendables guy, but I didn't bother with the last one because of what they did to Terry Crews. So I was out, and then plus now we know Stallone is not a great dude anymore. So yeah, I'm out. But
oh wow, what did you do recently?
Well, we can do it off mic. Yeah,
we can't talk about that here.
Well, here I'll tell you the Terry Crews bit. You know, Terry Crews was one of the guys that had sexual misconduct allegations against was it Weinstein? I don't want to get the name wrong. When everything kind of came out about that,
Miramax, Harvey Weinstein.
Everything came out about that.
There's two Weinsteins, so I don't want to,
Yeah, well, the bad one. The one that did terrible stuff.
But no one ever says that though. They're never like, what if the other Weinstein is like the nicest dude ever? They're like, because it is the Weinstein brothers. You know what I mean? No one ever.
I'm
I
talking
mean,
about
I don't
the
know
bad
anything
one.
about the Weinsteins. Yeah, we're talking about that.
Well, look,
But
Terry Crews had allegations against this guy. And of course, he gets roasted by the press, who basically say, look at you. You're 6'6", you're jacked. What do you mean? Why didn't you just, and Terry Crews was always like, what do you want me to do? Should I have punched him? Should I have attacked him? Should I have put him through the table? And then I get sued. And then it hits the front page of the paper as a black man attacks a white studio executive.
and I also never ever get an acting job ever. And my entire career and life are very different. Like, that's such a hard thing. I feel for Terry Crews. Terry Crews has also had some other problems that he's been open about with like porn addiction and stuff. So like, I would be interested to hear what I haven't heard that, but like, yeah, like you can't shit on someone for, I don't know. You don't know someone's situation. Like if you're in an acting situation, maybe like you grew up, well, like I grew up, if I was in that situation, I'd probably take that out. Honestly, like whatever, gonna do this. I'm not gonna like it, but that seems like the situation Terry Crews was put into. Doesn't matter how big and strong and tall you are, like you're put into a bad situation when it comes to money, especially in today's society and government. Like even going back 20 years with Miramax, or 30 years, I guess this is probably be early 90s. It doesn't matter because like money rules the world, and you got to be able to eat, dude. Got to be able to eat. Got to be able to pay your apartment in Los Angeles. Shit's expensive.
And African Americans are held to a different standard. And they shouldn't be, but they are. So that's part of it. But no, and also the reason I didn't want to go see this Expendables film, the studio kept him out because they didn't want the press. Because Terry was Terry was suing, and it was hitting the headlines, and they didn't like that. So they wanted to keep it, And I'm like, if you're Stallone, you're like, well, then I'm not going to do the movie without him. But he didn't do that. And I wasn't there. I don't know particulars. Maybe I'm dead wrong. But it seems to me, you're the star. You're Stallone. You could have said, we're not doing the movie without him. But that didn't happen, evidently. So shame on them. So that's my take. And look, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll eat my words. Maybe I'm dead wrong, and my take is backwards. And Terry didn't want to do it anyway. I don't know.
I mean, it depends on who the executive producer of that film was. I'm not that familiar with Expendables Volume 16.
Mm-hmm.
But if that was the case in which he just went ahead with it instead of just being like, no, he's going to be in the movie, then yeah, it's probably a bad choice. I probably wouldn't have done that. But whatever. Sylvester Stallone. He's got a reality TV show now, so I don't understand how someone can be punch drunk without being an actual boxer, but the man is somehow made it.
Like I said, he's got other stuff to worry about now, or not worry about, I guess, because he's not a great dude anymore. So we'll close on that bit of negativity, kids.
Well, I don't want to. Well, I don't know enough about. I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't know enough about Sylvester Stallone. I've heard he's a really nice guy, so
that's fine. I'll trash more off mic. It's fine.
I just don't know enough about the situation. That's any Weinstein situation from this time period. I completely believe and would like. That's really shady if that's what went down, but like I don't know enough about it, so kind of one of those things where I'm like, hey, I would hope that Sylvester Stallone, in my heart of hearts, I would hope he would look at Terry Crews and the situation the same way that Johnny Utah looks at Bodie.
Well, we'll end on that because I don't think anyone's looking at anybody the way he looks at Bodie. So, Chris, let's wrap this up. Give me your last word on Point Break.
Oh, on a scale of RoboCop 2, it's like a 5 RoboCop 2s. 5 stars.
I still don't know if
it's a great movie.
Yeah, okay.
It's just fun. It's a fun movie. It's not gonna blow your mind if you're a younger person listening to this podcast. You've never seen it. It's nothing about this movie is gonna be like, man, I need to see this. But it is fun. It's a good time. Relax, get into it. Eat some gummy worms and just chill out. It's a fun movie. Just have fun with it. And then make your own storylines like I do with Johnny Bodie after seeing this movie 20 times. But no, it's great. Patrick Swayze is incredible in it. We didn't go through all of his quotes, but he has some great monologue-esque quotes throughout this film.
Mm-hmm.
Did his own stunts, really cool. You kind of get Keanu Reeves as an action hero for the first time, which would go into The Matrix and then into John Wick, which everyone loves. So this is the birth of John Wick in a way.
Yeah, this is before Speed, so we don't know what this guy's capable of yet. And man, that John Wick movie, I'm gonna tell you right now, I just can't. I'm sure,
It's great.
Dude, I'm sure another
it's way
actor
better than Constantine. Tell you that.
I like Constantine. I don't. Constantine
You
has
like
its issues.
You like when he's like, "I'm gonna make you my wiatch."
By the way, Constantine and John Wick are both in the archives. I'm just saying.
Have you really done Constantine?
We have.
Why? That's way worse than Point Break.
Well,
RoboCop 2.
It's got its moments.
RoboCop 2 better than Constantine. I'm putting that out there right now for everyone listening.
It's got its moments. Yeah, not the best movie I've ever seen. But look, Chris is right there, kids, because Point Break is mindless fun. Don't go into it with any preconceived notions, and you'll be fine. And it's a fun action flick. And as I said at the beginning, it's beautifully shot. I mean, I know it's just California or whatever, but there's something about the beach that is just. I can't say it's my favorite place ever, but when the temp's right and I'm not baking like a lobster in the sun, and you got that nice breeze coming in the evening, it's awesome. And you really get that vibe here, so that's pretty cool. I can't swim, so I can't enjoy it that awful much, but I do enjoy the scenery here in this movie. The story's got so many plot holes, they're big enough you could drive a truck through them. It is what it is.
There's no plot holes. It's a love story between a dude and his bro. There's zero plot holes here.
With a lot of plot holes that you could drive a truck through, but be that as it may, it's worth your watch. It's worth your time. So go check it out. And I'm sure we'll hit some more Keanu Reeves, perhaps some more Swayze stuff in the future. Who knows? We shall see.
Dirty Dancing.
I'm not doing Dirty Dancing. That's
Why not?
That's not my movie, brother.
Why not?
Yeah, it ain't happening. It ain't for me. I just don't. I can't do it. And it's not a macho thing either. I don't know. The hokey dialogue. You think this movie has hokey dialogue? Come on, man.
I mean, well, Ghost it is.
Hey, look, if nothing else, Dirty Dancing has Jerry Orbach. So it does have him in it. I can't be mad at that. Lenny Briscoe.
Ghost has Unchained Melody in the greatest form of Unchained Melody, which even kids today are probably going to dance to at prom, whether they
Righteous Brothers are awesome. I can't argue that.
This movie cost $24 million to make. By the way, I don't know if we talked about budget. Did we talk about budget?
We always talk about budget.
But how much money did this movie make worldwide?
It was like 80-some million. It didn't bring the house down.
Imagine making like triple your budget and be like, "Oh, I did bring the house down. Must be nice."
No, we hit all this. Where have you been? Have we been on the air that long recording that you forgot?
Dude, we've been talking about wrestling for 2 hours before the show, so yes, we have been on the.
All right. The budget was $24 million. It made $83.5 million. So it did not do awesome.
It's free on Tubi. Watch it.
Yeah, it's free on budget. It's free on Tubi, but it's also on Amazon Prime and somewhere else too. Yeah, it's worth your time. As I said, by the way, Mark Isham does the music. We never gave that guy a shout out. There you go. Mark Isham's your music guy. Well, kids, there you have it. Stay tuned for a lot more. Thanks for checking us out as always. More to come from the 6M, and we appreciate it. Please share the show wherever you can, and we'll be back real soon. But for now, that is Point Break. Hey, thanks for listening to the show. Check out our social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at 6M Podcast. We'll see you next time.